Story 1. I've been working at this burger joint for about 2 years now. Started when I was 17, fresh out of high school, needing money for community college. The pay isn't great, but it's honest work, and I've learned to deal with all kinds of customers. My manager promoted me to shift supervisor last month, which means I handle the difficult situations when they come up. Today was one of those days that makes you question humanity. It started normal enough. Saturday lunch rush, the usual chaos. We had a line stretching almost to the door, maybe 15 people deep. Everyone seemed patient, chatting on their phones or scrolling social media while waiting. The fryers were working overtime, and we were pushing orders out as fast as we could. Then she walked in. This woman, I'll call her Karen because that's exactly what she was, strutted through the door like she owned the place. Designer purse, expensive-looking clothes, the kind of haircut that screams, "I want to speak to your manager." She took one look at the line and her face twisted into this disgusted expression. Instead of getting in line like a normal person, she marched straight to the counter, cutting in front of about 10 people. The customer at the front was this elderly man who'd been waiting patiently for at least 5 minutes. "Karen, excuse me, I need to order right now. I'm in a hurry." The cashier looked confused. She's new, maybe 16, still learning the ropes. Cashier: "Ma'am, you'll need to wait in line like everyone else." Karen: "Do you know who I am? I don't wait in lines. Take my order now." I was in the back checking inventory, but I could hear the commotion starting. The other customers were getting restless, murmuring among themselves. The elderly man at the front looked bewildered. Elderly customer: "Miss, I was here first." Karen turned on him like a viper. Karen: "And I'm clearly more important than you are. I have places to be." That's when I decided to step in. I walked over to the counter, putting on my best customer service smile. "Me, good afternoon, ma'am. I'm the shift supervisor. How can I help you today?" Karen: "Finally, someone with authority. I need a number 3 combo, large, with a diet soda. And I need it now, not in 20 minutes. Me: "I understand you're in a hurry, but we do have a first come, first served policy. If you'd like to join the line, we'll get to your order as soon as possible." Her face went red. I mean bright red, like a tomato. Karen: "Are you kidding me? Do you see this line? I'm not waiting behind all these people." The way she said "people" made my skin crawl. I could see other customers getting angry now. A few pulled out their phones, probably recording. "Me, ma'am, I'm afraid that's our policy. Everyone waits their turn." That's when she completely lost it. She started screaming about discrimination, about how she was being treated unfairly, about how she'd get us all fired. The whole restaurant went quiet except for her voice. "Karen, this is ridiculous. I'm calling corporate. I'm calling the health department. You people don't know who you're dealing with." The elderly man tried to defuse the situation. Elderly customer: "Listen, miss, you can go ahead of me if it's that important." But Karen was past reasoning. She looked at him with pure contempt. Karen: "I don't need your charity, old man. These minimum wage idiots need to do their jobs properly." That's when she crossed the line. She reached across the counter and shoved the cashier hard enough that the poor girl stumbled backward. The kid looked terrified. "Me, ma'am, you need to leave right now, or I'm calling the police." Karen: "Try me. I'm not going anywhere until I get my food." But she didn't stop there. While I was reaching for the phone, she actually climbed up onto the counter. I'm not kidding, this grown woman in her expensive clothes climbed over our counter like some kind of deranged gymnast. She made a beeline for the fryer station. Our cook backed away as she reached toward the basket of fries that was actively cooking in 350-degree oil. Cook: "Lady, stop. You'll burn yourself." Karen: "I'll get my own food since you people are incompetent." I dropped the phone and rushed over. She had actually grabbed the fryer basket handle and was trying to lift it out of the oil. Hot oil was splashing everywhere. "Me, stop. You're going to hurt someone." That's when she turned the basket toward me, swinging it like a weapon. Hot oil flew across my arm and chest. I've never felt pain like that before. The smell of burning flesh, my flesh filled the air. I stumbled backward, clutching my arm, and that's when the other customers finally had enough. 3 men rushed behind the counter and restrained Karen while someone else called 911. Customer 1, are you okay? Someone get ice. Customer 2, this woman is insane. Karen was still screaming, even with 3 people holding her down. Karen, let me go. I'm suing all of you. You can't treat customers like this. The paramedics arrived first, followed closely by the police. While the EMS worked on my burns, I gave my statement to the officers. At least 6 customers volunteered as witnesses, and 3 people had video of the whole incident. The police officer looked genuinely shocked as he watched the footage on someone's phone. Officer, in 20 years on the force, I've never seen anything like this. Karen was still ranting as they put her in handcuffs. Karen, this is harassment. I'm a paying customer. I want my lawyer. Officer, ma'am, you're under arrest for assault, disturbing the peace, and destruction of property. But the story doesn't end there. While I was at the hospital getting my burns treated, our district manager arrived at the store. He reviewed the security footage and witness statements. By the time I got back to work 3 days later, there was a corporate-wide memo with Karen's photo, banning her from every single location in the entire franchise chain. We're talking about over 3,000 restaurants across the country. My manager told me what happened when Karen tried to visit another location 2 towns over the next week. Manager, she walked in, and the staff recognized her immediately from the memo. They refused service and asked her to leave. When she started the same routine, they just called the police right away. The best part? The video of the incident went viral on social media. Karen's face is now known across the internet as the Fryer Lady. Her employer saw the video and fired her. Her country club revoked her membership. Even her own family disowned her behavior publicly. The elderly customer from that day came back a week later and left a $50 tip for our staff, along with a note thanking us for standing up to bullies. That meant more to me than anything. As for my burns, they healed up fine, though I still have a small scar on my forearm. Every time I look at it, I remember that some people really do think the world revolves around them. But I also remember that most people are decent, and they'll stand up for what's right when it matters. Karen is currently facing criminal charges and a civil lawsuit from our franchise owner. Her lawyer apparently advised her to plead guilty and seek anger management counseling. Word is she's also being sued by 3 other businesses for similar incidents over the past year. Sometimes I wonder what makes someone think they're so much more important than everyone else. But then I remember that it's not my job to figure that out. My job is to make burgers, serve customers, and treat everyone with respect, something Karen never learned how to do. Story 2. I've been working at the community center for 3 years now, and I thought I'd seen every type of difficult person there was. Boy, was I wrong. Let me give you some background first. I moved to this town right after college when I got hired as the assistant recreation coordinator at our local community center. The job isn't glamorous, but I love working with families and kids. The community pool is one of our most popular amenities, especially during summer. We get hundreds of visitors daily, from toddlers with their parents to teenagers hanging out with friends. The community center serves a pretty diverse neighborhood. We have families from all walks of life, and most people are incredibly respectful. Sure, we get the occasional complaint about noise or someone not following pool rules, but nothing too crazy. The worst I dealt with before this incident was someone upset about the water temperature or kids running on the pool deck. That Tuesday started like any other summer day. The weather was perfect, and by noon, the pool area was packed. I was doing my usual rounds, checking that everything was running smoothly, when I noticed her. This woman had set up an elaborate sunbathing station near the shallow end of the pool. She had 2 lounge chairs, a small table, multiple towels, and what looked like a professional tanning setup. Nothing wrong with that. except she'd positioned herself right next to the family area where most of the kids play. The first sign of trouble came around 1 p.m. A group of toddlers was playing with their pool toys in the shallow end, the usual stuff like inflatable rings, small beach balls, and those foam noodles. The kids were having a blast, and their parents were watching from nearby chairs. Suddenly, this woman sits up on her lounge chair and starts glaring at the kids. "Karen, excuse me. Could you keep those children quiet? I'm trying to relax here." The parents looked confused. The kids weren't being particularly loud, just normal kid sounds of splashing and giggling. "Parent, they're just playing. This is the family area of the pool." "Karen, well, I was here first, and those toys are completely distracting. The colors are too bright, and all that splashing is ruining my sunbathing experience." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I walked over to see if I could help smooth things over. "Hi there, is everything okay?" "Karen, finally, someone with authority. These people are letting their kids run wild, and it's disturbing my peace. I demand you make them stop." "I'm sorry, but the children are following all pool rules. This section is designated for families with young kids." "Karen, that's ridiculous. I pay the same membership fees as everyone else. I should be able to enjoy the pool without all this chaos." "Parent, look, we're not causing any problems. Maybe you could move to the adult-only section if you want quiet." "Karen, I shouldn't have to move. I claimed this spot first." The situation was getting tense, but I tried to stay diplomatic. "I understand everyone wants to enjoy their time here. The kids are welcome to use their toys in this area, but maybe we can find a compromise." "Karen, the compromise is that they pack up all those obnoxious toys and keep their brats quiet." That's when I knew we had a real problem. Her voice was getting louder, and other pool guests were starting to stare. "Ma'am, I'm going to have to ask you to lower your voice and stop using that language around the children." "Karen, don't you dare tell me how to speak. This is a public facility, and I have rights." One of the toddlers, maybe 3 years old, was playing peacefully with a small inflatable duck float near the pool edge. Without warning, Karen marched over and grabbed it. "Parent, hey, what are you doing?" Karen pulled out her car keys and deliberately punctured the float. The poor kid started crying as his toy deflated. "Karen, there. Now maybe we can have some peace and quiet." The pool area went dead silent, except for the crying child. I couldn't believe what I just witnessed. "Ma'am, you just destroyed someone else's property. I need you to leave immediately." "Karen, I'm not going anywhere. That toy was a safety hazard anyway." But she wasn't done. Another family had a larger pool float, one of those ring-shaped ones that kids sit in. Karen grabbed it and hurled it toward the deep end of the pool. "Karen, and take this junk with you." The problem was, a 7-year-old had been holding on to that float and got dragged into the deep water. The kid could swim, but barely, and started panicking. Our head lifeguard immediately jumped in and pulled the child to safety while I radioed for backup. The child was fine, just scared, but this had crossed every line imaginable. That's it. You're banned from this facility. Security is on their way." "Karen, you can't ban me. I know my rights. I'll sue this entire place." The lifeguard who'd rescued the kid was furious. "Lifeguard, ma'am, you just endangered a child. We're calling the police." "Karen, for what? Cleaning up the pool area? Those parents should thank me." When the officers arrived, multiple witnesses gave statements about what happened. The parents whose toys were destroyed wanted to press charges for property damage. The family whose child was thrown into the deep end was considering additional charges for child endangerment. "Officer, ma'am, you're being charged with destruction of property and reckless endangerment. You'll need to come with us." "Karen, this is outrageous. I was just trying to enjoy a peaceful day at the pool. These people are the real criminals for letting their kids run wild." Even as they led her away in handcuffs, she was still screaming about her rights and how unfair everyone was being. The aftermath was swift. Our community center has a zero-tolerance policy for behavior that endangers children. Karen was permanently banned from all community facilities. The property damage charges stuck, and she had to pay for the destroyed toys plus court fees. Word spread quickly through our tight-knit community. Apparently, this wasn't her first incident of entitled behavior around town. Local businesses started sharing stories of similar encounters with her. The best part? A month later, we had a community pool party fundraiser. The families who'd been harassed that day came back, along with dozens of other families. Kids were everywhere with their colorful toys, splashing and having the time of their lives. The pool area was filled with laughter and joy, exactly how it should be. Sometimes I still think about that day and shake my head. All she had to do was move to a quieter spot or come back at a less busy time. Instead, she chose to attack children and their families over pool toys. Some people really do think the world revolves around them. The community center feels much more peaceful these days. Story 3. I've been going to the same gym for about 3 years now. Started going there when I moved to this neighborhood after college, mainly because it was cheap and close to my apartment. I work at a software company, and sitting at a desk all day was killing my back, so I figured I needed to get moving somehow. The gym isn't fancy, just your basic equipment, a few treadmills, some weights, and a small area for stretching. But it gets the job done, and the staff has always been pretty cool. There's this one trainer there who I'll call him the trainer. He's been there since I started coming, always helpful, never pushy about trying to sell you personal training sessions like some places do. I usually go after work around 6 in the evening. It's busy then, but not packed. Most of the regulars know the unspoken rules: wipe down equipment after use, don't hog machines during peak hours, that sort of thing. We all just want to work out and go home. So last Tuesday, I'm doing my usual routine. I'd finished my weights and was heading to the cardio area. There are 6 treadmills total, and 5 were occupied. Perfect one left, and it happened to be the third one from the left, which has always been my favorite because it's positioned where I can watch the TV without craning my neck. I hop on, plug in my headphones, and start my warm-up walk. About 10 minutes in, I'm getting into a good rhythm when I notice this woman walking around the cardio area. She's maybe in her 40s, blonde hair in a tight ponytail, wearing expensive-looking workout clothes that still had creases like they just came off the rack. At first, she's just pacing back and forth, checking her phone. I figure she's waiting for a machine to open up. Then she starts staring at me, not just glancing over, full-on staring. I try to ignore it and keep running. After a few more minutes, she walks right up to my treadmill and just stands there. I can see her in my peripheral vision, hands on her hips. I pull out one earbud. "Me, can I help you with something?" "Karen, you're on my treadmill." I look around, confused. The gym is pretty busy, but it's not like there's a waiting list or anything. "Me, I'm sorry, what do you mean your treadmill?" "Karen, this is my treadmill. I come here every Tuesday at 6:15, and I always use this exact machine. You need to get off." I check the time on the display, it's 6:23. I've been on here for over 10 minutes already. "Me? Well, I'm already using it, and there isn't really a reservation system here. Maybe you could use one of the others when they open up." Her face starts turning red. I can see the trainer from across the room, and he's noticed the commotion but hasn't come over yet. "Karen, I don't think you understand. I have been coming to this gym for 6 months, and this is my treadmill. The energy flow in this gym is very specific, and this machine is positioned in the exact spot where the positive energy converges. Using any other machine would completely disrupt my workout and my spiritual alignment." I honestly thought she was joking at first. I mean, who talks like that about gym equipment? "Me, look, I understand you like this particular machine, but I got here first today. I'll probably be done in about 20 minutes if you want to wait." "Karen, 20 minutes? 20 minutes? Do you have any idea how this affects my schedule? My feng shui consultant specifically told me that 6:15 to 7:15 on Tuesdays is my optimal window for cardio, and it has to be on this machine. She's getting louder now, and other people are starting to look over. I'm getting embarrassed, but I'm also not about to let someone bully me off a machine I'm legitimately using. I'm sorry, but that's not really my problem. I'm using the machine now. That's when she completely lost it. Without any warning, she reached over and slammed the emergency stop button on my treadmill. I nearly fell forward as the belt stopped suddenly, having to grab the side rails to keep my balance. Karen, get off my machine right now. The trainer comes jogging over immediately. Trainer, ma'am, you can't touch other people's equipment like that. That's a safety hazard. Karen, this person is on my treadmill. I demand you make them move immediately, or I'm going to file a complaint with corporate and have you fired. Trainer, there aren't assigned machines here. It's first come, first served for all equipment. Karen, this is ridiculous. The feng shui of this entire gym is wrong. That treadmill needs to face east for proper energy flow, and now you've let this person disrupt everything. I spend good money here, and I expect to use my equipment when I want to use it. She's practically screaming now. The whole gym has gone quiet except for the sound of machines running. Everyone is staring. Trainer, ma'am, I'm going to need you to lower your voice. You're disrupting other members. Karen, I'll lower my voice when I get what I paid for. This is discrimination. You're all conspiring against me because I understand energy and wellness better than you do. She turns back to me. Karen, and you're probably not even using the machine correctly. I bet you don't even know about proper cardio feng shui. I'm still standing on the stop treadmill, completely bewildered. Cardio feng shui isn't. That's not a real thing. Karen, don't you dare tell me what's real. I've spent thousands of dollars on consultants and energy experts. The trainer pulls out his phone and starts recording. Trainer, ma'am, I'm documenting this incident. You physically interfered with another member's workout, and you're being disruptive to the entire gym. Karen, you can't record me. This is invasion of privacy. I'll sue this whole place. Trainer, this is a public space, and we have security cameras anyway. I'm within my rights to document disruptive behavior. Karen notices the cameras for the first time and looks around wildly. Instead of calming down, she gets even more agitated. Karen, fine. If you want to record me, I'll give you something to record. She starts grabbing towels from the dispenser and throwing them around. Karen, this gym has terrible energy. The equipment is all wrong. Nothing is aligned properly. No wonder I haven't been losing weight. It's all because of the bad feng shui. The trainer is still recording while talking into his radio to get the manager. Karen keeps ranting about energy flows and spiritual alignment while making a mess of the towel station. A few minutes later, the manager shows up. He's this calm, older guy who I've seen handle difficult situations before. Manager, ma'am, I'm going to need you to stop what you're doing and come with me to discuss this situation. Karen, finally, someone with authority. I demand this person be removed from my treadmill immediately, and I want this trainer fired for refusing to help me and for illegally recording me. Manager, actually, after reviewing the security footage and this recording, I'm terminating your membership effective immediately. Karen's face goes completely white. Karen, what? You can't do that. I'm a paying member. Manager, you physically interfered with another member's equipment, created a disturbance, made a mess of gym property, and used abusive language towards staff and other members. All of those are grounds for immediate termination according to the membership agreement you signed. Karen, this is discrimination. I'll sue. My lawyer will hear about this. Manager, that's your right. But you need to leave the premises now, or I'll call the police for trespassing. Karen, fine. But you haven't heard the last of me. I'm going to leave reviews everywhere. I'm going to tell everyone how you treat people who understand wellness and spiritual fitness. She storms toward the exit, but then turns around one more time. Karen, and that treadmill is still in the wrong position. The energy in here is going to make everyone sick. The manager escorts her out while she continues yelling about feng shui and energy flows. The whole gym stays quiet for about 30 seconds after she leaves. Then slowly people start getting back to their workouts. The trainer comes back over to me. "Trainer, I'm really sorry about that. Are you okay? Do you want to continue your workout?" Me, "Yeah, I'm fine. That was intense." Trainer, "I've never seen anything like it in 5 years of working here. Want me to reset the treadmill for you?" I ended up finishing my workout without any more drama. The trainer told me later that Karen had only been a member for 2 months, not 6 like she claimed, and had already complained multiple times about the energy of various machines and the gym's layout. Apparently, she tried to get back in the next day, claiming the manager had no authority to terminate her membership. When that didn't work, she started leaving 1-star reviews online, all talking about how the gym had spiritually toxic equipment placement and discriminated against people with feng shui awareness. The reviews were so bizarre that they actually helped the gym's reputation because people could tell she was unhinged. The manager ended up framing one of the reviews and hanging it in the staff break room. I still use that same treadmill every Tuesday at 6:15. The feng shui seems to be working out just fine. Story 4. I never thought my wedding day would turn into something straight out of a soap opera, but here we are. Let me back up and explain how I ended up dealing with the most entitled person I've ever met on what was supposed to be the happiest day of my life. My fiancé and I had been together for 3 years. We met in college, and it was pretty much love at first sight. He's kind, funny, and has this way of making even the worst days better. We'd been living together for 2 years in this nice little neighborhood, saving up for our dream wedding. Our next-door neighbor was this woman who had always been a bit odd. She lived with her adult son, who was around our age. The son seemed nice enough, but his mother was intense. She'd often make comments about how I was perfect for her son and how we'd make beautiful babies together. It was creepy, but I tried to be polite since we had to live next to each other. The weirdness escalated when she found out my fiancé and I were engaged. She actually knocked on our door at 10 at night to tell me I was making a terrible mistake and that her son had been waiting for me, even though we'd maybe exchanged 10 words total in 2 years. When I politely explained that I was happily engaged, she got this look in her eyes like I'd personally insulted her entire bloodline. Things got worse from there. She'd leave strange notes in our mailbox about destiny and soulmates. She even cornered my fiancé in the parking lot once to tell him he was stealing what belonged to her family. We started avoiding her completely, and thankfully, we moved to our new place 3 months before the wedding. The wedding was perfect. We'd rented this beautiful venue with gardens and string lights. All our friends and family were there, about 150 people total. I was wearing my grandmother's dress that had been altered to fit me perfectly. My fiancé looked incredible in his navy suit. Everything was going exactly as planned. We were halfway through our vows when I noticed some commotion near the back. The officiant kept going, and I tried to focus on my fiancé's words, but I could hear whispers spreading through the crowd. Then I saw her, Karen, our former neighbor, pushing through the seated guests in this bright purple dress that looked like she'd grabbed it from a costume shop. My heart sank. How had she even found out about the venue? We hadn't spoken to her in months. Before anyone could stop her, she marched straight up to the altar. The officiant stopped mid-sentence, and you could hear a pin drop. "Karen, this is all wrong. This wedding cannot continue." Everyone just stared. My maid of honor grabbed my arm, and I could feel my fiancé tense up beside me. "Ma'am, this is a private ceremony. You need to leave." "Karen, private. Ha! You can't hide from destiny, sweetie. You're making the biggest mistake of your life." She turned to address the entire crowd like she was giving some grand speech. "Karen, this woman has bewitched this poor man. She's stolen my son's soulmate through dark magic and trickery." The crowd started murmuring. Some people were confused, others looked angry. My dad started standing up from his seat, but my fiancé gestured for him to wait. "My fiancé, look, we don't know what you're talking about. Please just leave us alone on our wedding day. Karen, don't please me, young man. You've been brainwashed too. She's cast some kind of spell on both of you. At this point, my uncle, who's built like a linebacker, started walking toward her. But before he could reach her, Karen did something that still makes my blood boil when I think about it. She lunged for the microphone the officiant was holding. Karen, everyone needs to hear the truth. This bride practices witchcraft. I've seen her strange rituals through her window. She's cursed my innocent son and stolen his destined bride. The microphone screeched with feedback. Half the wedding party was on their feet now. My mom looked like she was about to faint. Me, that's completely insane. Security. We'd hired 2 security guards for the venue, mostly just to help with parking, but they were already moving toward Karen. Karen, you can't silence the truth. This marriage is cursed. It needs to be annulled immediately. My son is waiting at home, heartbroken, because his soulmate is being forced into this sham wedding. Security guard, ma'am, you need to come with us right now. Karen tried to pull away from the security guard who'd reached her. Karen, don't touch me. I have every right to be here. This woman has destroyed my family with her evil magic. My fiancé, we've never even had a conversation with your son. This is completely delusional. Karen, lies. He's told me all about your secret meetings, about how she promised to marry him and then betrayed him for you. Now I was getting angry. This woman was completely making things up. Me, I have never spoken to your son about anything personal, ever. You're creating a fantasy in your head. Karen, fantasy. I'll show you fantasy when this cursed union crumbles around you. The security guards each took one of her arms and started walking her toward the exit. But Karen wasn't done. She started screaming at the top of her lungs. Karen, this wedding is doomed. You'll be divorced within a year. My son will be waiting when your witchcraft wears off. People were pulling out their phones to record. I wanted to disappear into the ground. Karen, check her social media. She's been sending my son secret messages. She's been leading him on for years. My fiancé, that's a complete lie, and you know it. As they dragged her toward the exit, she kept screaming about curses and annulments, and how her son was the real victim in all this. Even when they got her outside, we could still hear her yelling in the parking lot for another 10 minutes. The officiant cleared his throat and asked if we wanted to continue. The crowd was buzzing with shocked whispers, but everyone settled down. We finished our vows, but the magic of the moment was definitely broken. During the reception, people kept coming up to us asking who that woman was and if we were okay. It was embarrassing having to explain that our former neighbor was completely obsessed with some imaginary relationship between me and her son. But here's where the story gets satisfying. My cousin, who works in social media marketing, had recorded the whole thing. She posted it online with a caption explaining the context, and it went viral within hours. People were sharing it everywhere, calling Karen the witch wedding lady. 2 days later, we found out that Karen's son had seen the video. He was so mortified that he moved out of her house and cut contact with her. Apparently, he'd had no idea his mother had been doing any of this. He actually sent us a very sweet apology through social media, explaining that he was horrified by his mother's behavior and that he'd never had any romantic interest in me whatsoever. The best part? Karen's employer also saw the video. She worked at a local real estate office, and they fired her for behavior inconsistent with company values after potential clients started recognizing her as the crazy wedding lady. 6 months later, we heard through neighbors that she'd moved to another state. Her son told us later that the humiliation from the video had finally forced her to get professional help, though I'm not sure how much good it did. So yeah, that's how my wedding day turned into an internet sensation featuring the most entitled person I've ever encountered. Despite her predictions, my husband and I just celebrated our first anniversary, and we're happier than ever. No witchcraft required. Story 5. I've been working as a pharmacy technician for about 3 years now. My older brother got me the job after I dropped out of college when my mom got sick with cancer. The pay isn't amazing, but it's steady work, and I actually like helping people get their medications. Plus, my manager is understanding about the days I need to take Mom to her treatments. Working at a pharmacy, you see all kinds of people. Most are normal folks just trying to get their prescriptions filled. Some are elderly and need extra help understanding their medications. Others are parents picking up antibiotics for sick kids. But then there are the difficult ones, the ones who think the rules don't apply to them. Last Tuesday started like any other day. I was restocking the shelves when this middle-aged woman stormed up to the counter. She had that look, you know the one. The "I want to speak to your manager" haircut, and the expression that said she was already angry before she even walked in. "Karen, I need antibiotics. The strong ones." Me, "Do you have a prescription?" Karen, "I don't need a prescription. I know what I need." Me, "I'm sorry, but antibiotics require a prescription from a doctor. I can't sell them without one." Karen, "This is ridiculous. I've had this same infection before. I know exactly what works." Me, "I understand it's frustrating, but antibiotics are prescription-only medications. If you'd like, there's an urgent care clinic next door that can see you today." Karen, "Listen here, young man. I've been taking antibiotics longer than you've been alive. I know more about medicine than half the doctors in this town." I could feel my patience starting to wear thin, but I kept my voice calm and professional. My manager always tells us to stay polite no matter what. Me, "I believe you, but it's the law. I could lose my job and the pharmacy could lose its license if I sell prescription medications without a valid prescription." Karen, "The law. Don't lecture me about the law. I pay taxes in this town. My husband is a city councilman. Do you know who you're talking to?" Me, "I'm just following pharmacy regulations. Is there anything else I can help you with today?" That's when she really lost it. Her face turned red, and she started yelling about how incompetent I was and how she was going to get me fired. Other customers in line were starting to stare and look uncomfortable. Karen, "Fine. If you won't help me, I'll help myself." Before I could react, she marched around to the side of the counter where the pickup area was. There's a small gap there where customers can approach to get their prescriptions, but she went further than that. She actually reached behind the counter and grabbed one of our filled prescription baskets. Me, "Ma'am, you cannot touch those. Those are private medical records." Karen, "I'm looking for antibiotics. Someone in here must have gotten some prescribed." She started rifling through the prescription bags, reading names and medication labels out loud. I was horrified. These were people's private medical information, and she was going through them like she was shopping for groceries. I immediately called for my manager while trying to get her to stop. Me, "You need to put those down right now. Those prescriptions belong to other patients." Karen, "I found some. This person got the same antibiotics I need. I'm taking these." She actually started opening someone else's prescription bag. That's when my manager came running from the back office. Manager, "Ma'am, I need you to step away from those prescriptions immediately." Karen, "Finally, someone with authority. Your employee here refuses to sell me the medication I need. I'm a paying customer and I demand service." Manager, "You're tampering with private medical records and attempting to steal someone else's prescription. I'm calling the police." Karen, "You wouldn't dare. Do you know who my husband is?" Manager, "I don't care if your husband is the governor. You're committing a crime." While my manager called the police, Karen kept ranting about how we were all incompetent and how she was going to sue the pharmacy. She was still holding someone else's prescription bag, refusing to give it back. The police arrived within 10 minutes. 2 officers walked in and immediately assessed the situation. By this point, Karen had calmed down slightly, probably realizing she might be in actual trouble. Officer, "Ma'am, we've received reports that you've been tampering with prescription medications that don't belong to you." Karen, "This is all a misunderstanding. I just needed antibiotics, and these people refused to help me." Officer, "Did you reach behind the pharmacy counter and go through other people's prescriptions?" Karen, "Well, yes. but only because they wouldn't give me what I needed. Officer, that's tampering with private medical records and attempted theft of prescription medications. The officer explained that what she did was actually a felony because prescription medications are controlled substances and medical records are protected by privacy laws. Karen's attitude changed completely when she realized she wasn't going to talk her way out of this. Karen, look, I'll just leave and go somewhere else. No harm done. Officer, I'm afraid it doesn't work that way. You've committed a crime. They arrested her right there in the pharmacy. As they were putting handcuffs on her, she kept insisting that her husband would sort everything out and that we'd all be sorry. The other customers watched in stunned silence as she was let out. After she was gone, my manager had to call all the patients whose prescriptions she had touched to let them know what happened. Most were understanding, but a few were understandably upset that their private medical information had been compromised. The next week, I found out through a coworker whose cousin works at the courthouse that Karen was charged with tampering with medical records, attempted theft of controlled substances, and disrupting a business. Apparently, her husband being on the city council didn't help her as much as she thought it would. The best part? She could have gotten antibiotics prescribed at the urgent care clinic next door for a $30 visit. Instead, she's looking at potential fines, community service, and a criminal record. All because she thought she was above following the same rules as everyone else. I still work at the same pharmacy, and I still love helping people get their medications. But now we have a security camera pointed directly at the prescription pickup area, and my manager keeps that basket of filled prescriptions further back behind the counter. Sometimes people ask me if I miss the drama, but honestly, I prefer the boring days when people just pick up their prescriptions and say thank you. Those are the days that remind me why I like this job in the first place.